Awesome. Thanks a lot for joining in. I think we started this community demo days just recently, so it's been about a month. This is the third community demo day that we're doing. This suggestion actually came up from our own Slack community itself. Steve from Launch Notes, he couldn't make it today, but he had initially asked a question, which led us to thinking that, hey, maybe we do a session out of this. It was around onboarding. And Shrey took the first session around how Lenny's community thinks about onboarding new members. We had a great response. And I think it was a great discussion. And then we followed it on with the next community demo day, which was around HubSpot integration specifically. So we had Kevin from Triple Whale and a walk through how they are using and creating dashboards around showing community impact, right? And yeah, so which brings us to the third one here. And I think a core part of like community building is how we provide a better experience to members, like, in terms of like onboarding and, engaging and driving engagement, adding value to like members, whether they're active or inactive and so on. So we'd love to like hear from each one of you, your approach to driving more participation in the community, right? And I think we can follow this format. And the three communities going sharing their experiences today. So we have Gaurav from My Captain, Charlie Pat from the Commons, and Bailey from Efficient Growth Community, right? So maybe we can take 10 minutes each, a bit of context of about your community, and then feel free to share how you're engaging with them and what's worked, what's not, what are some outcomes, and anything that's any feedback, or like how are you using outreach from Threado to help achieve these objectives, right? Perfect. So yeah, I think we can get started. So maybe Gaurav, you can start off, and then we can go to Bailey and then Charlie Pat if that order works. Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much for this opportunity. And hi everyone, my name is Gaurav. So I'm building the community at My Captain. And My Captain is a platform where paid learners come and they pay for courses like content and copywriting, digital marketing, and also UI and UX designing. So basically, what we use outreach for is sending event reminders, sending uh, community newsletters, and I think Chat GPT and outreach is the answer for everything now because it saves a lot of time, and I think everything is easier now. Like people engage more now because recently, 4 days back on Monday, I sent an event, a community newsletter, and during the week, we hosted some events online on Slack. We operate on Slack, and we hosted events on Slack, and the engagement increased hugely because the active member participation before you sending the newsletter was just 23 to 25%, but now it's increased to 35 to 40%. So the active members are increasing. So it's a good thing. And uh, so the first time I used outreach was sending an event reminder for to 27 cohort groups. And the first use was, I used to send it manually, like sending on bulk messages and all. But then I realized that I should use outreach, and Shalini told me, and others told me that you should use outreach. And I think it was just, I had to send to 27 groups, and it was sent in just 3 seconds. I was shocked. How did this happen? So yeah, that's my experience, and the community is growing well since I started using outreach. we use it for sending placement related forms and live class reminders, everything. I think this has helped me. I mean, this has helped me to save time a lot. Like, I don't know. Maybe if I had to use any other platform, it would take me around 15 to 30 minutes to send manually or something. But now with Outreach, it's very easy for me.
Awesome. Gaurav, just a couple of questions, and feel free to share, screen and show some of the campaigns if you want to as well. But I know you've used outreach pretty heavily. What are some of the use cases, or which you've thought of going ahead, the next 3 months that you can that's helping you? What are some of the objectives that you're trying to drive? And do you see a use case where outreach might be relevant? Also, feel free to throw a wish list at us, what you would like it to do as well.
So this is what I told the team a few months back. I think that we wanted to launch polls, and it will be useful for us in sending polls, because sometimes on Slack, Polly doesn't give the correct answer. So, I mean, you need it basically for people answering questions about their course, their what do I say? Mm, how do I log in and everything related to the course? They are getting confused. So we would need some whole thing for outreach. Let me just share my screen. I'll show you how I use outreach. Like I told you, I sent this community newsletter. Just give me a minute. Yeah. This was the community newsletter that I sent. And so we discussed how we kicked off the week, what we share in the resource library. We have the AMS sessions with captains. So we call the mentors as captains. So that's how. And this, and what we have planned for this week.
Amazing. Thanks a lot for sharing that, Gaurav. I think any questions from the audience, feel free to ask Gaurav around this. We'll just wait for like a couple more minutes.
I have a question. Yeah. So, Gaurav, sir, how do you always use test email, or like whatever outreach you are sending, that's a test flag before sending any outreach? I mean, do you always use that?
Sorry, I didn't get your question exactly.
I think there's a test email option in outreach. I think Ganesh is asking, do you send that before sending the outreach out?
Yeah. Because it's little difficult, because if we send the wrong email, it will be difficult. So yeah, we use that.
One more. Let's say you have sent around 700 plus members, and how frequently you check report that is generated there?
So when I sent after 1 hour, the engagement, the open rate was just 10 to 12% in 1 hour. But now after 4 days, I see the result as 33%. So it's a huge growth. And
Okay, thanks.
yeah.
Got it.
I think Charlie has some question. Just click track links.
Yeah, the click track link, it's the links within the message, Charlie. By the way, when you click on that, it will show you on the right-hand side a report of who have clicked and the links that they've clicked as well. Yeah, so you'll be able to see that report.
I think the thing is, I sent just 3 links and most of them didn't click because they had already seen that in the community. So yeah, that's it.
Got it. Cool. Thanks a lot, Gaurav. And thanks so much for sharing the results as well. Yeah, I think Bailey, do you want to go in next?
Yes. So hello, everyone. Good morning from West Coast. I'm not sure what time zone everyone's in, but good morning. So I am the community manager for the Efficient Growth community. So we are a community of growth marketers, consultants, lots of different marketers just getting together to share knowledge and share skills, best practices, talk about our challenges, share job opportunities. We talk about vendor recommendations if people are looking for new platforms. So it's just a hub for connecting and, growing marketing network. So that's kind of an overview of us. And we just onboarded with Threado late last year. So we really started putting more time and effort into growing our relationships and just kind of building a stronger network of people, at different high growth companies. We have our tech partners in there. So it's a really diverse group of marketers. And we use Threado a lot, especially outreach. I use that weekly, not daily yet, but pretty often. So we send primarily engagement prompts to different channels in our community. So we have like an AI channel, a growth questions channel, all of these different channels. I use outreach to send different engagement questions, get the community's thoughts. So that's a key way that we use it. And being able to schedule questions in advance and kind of batch them based on, the time commitment that I have and just being able to kind of use my time more efficiently. That's been really helpful. And it kind of, I have time to just write all of the prompts, schedule them on Threado and let them run their course. And then recently we've also started doing end of week wrap up DMs using outreach as well. So I use that to go through the community, look at kind of the top conversations over different channels throughout the week. And then I target inactive members within the past 15 days. I'm kind of testing different tactics around like joined in the last 90 days versus the last 60 days, just to kind of see what the response is and the differences between those. But retention is a really big goal of ours going into the rest of this year. So being able to kind of reach those inactive members, give them a quick recap at the end of the week with some of the top conversations has been really awesome. We've had a really good response so far. People love just like short little recap. We have quite a lot of activity across the week. And if people don't have time to chime in, on a daily basis, it's a good way to just give them quick, snippet of what's going on in the community. And then we also link out to those conversations within the outreach DM. So yeah, really good response lately. And I'm excited to kind of see how else we can use this tool in the future. Kind of like Gaurav, I am really excited for the polls feature. I think that'll be really awesome for us as well. And yeah, that's kind of a quick look at how we use that. It's been a great tool and yeah, happy to answer any questions and go from there.
Quick question, Bailey. I don't know if you're comfortable sharing, some of the things you said, but I would love to see like how you design like a poll. I've never done that in outreach. I usually work on sending these, weekly newsletters at Threado. But just curious, like how you use polls and what are some steps that you may suggest us, like, to use outreach?
We don't use polls yet. I'm just excited for that feature to come. So we don't use polls through outreach yet, but we just do like normal engagement questions. So I'll do one question usually per channel and kind of stagger those throughout, the weeks in the month. But when we do have the polls feature, then I'll start using that more. Got
it. Makes sense. I missed
Hey,
sorry.
Just one more question in the chat from Priyanshu. So do you build these templates out from the scratch or are you using one of the templates from the library?
So I use the community or the weekly update template, I think, and then I just craft that. I have kind of a template format that I've set for myself with like the weekly messages. So I usually select 3 channels. I don't want it to be too overwhelming for the members. So I'll select 3 different channels, kind of look at 2 to 3 top conversations from there, and then link that in the message. So I'm happy to share. We actually just had this week's message go out, so I'm happy to share kind of an example of what that looks like too.
Yes, please.
Awesome. Okay, so this was the message that we just sent out. So as you can see, just kind of like a recap, the top highlights from the community this week, and then I link out to the different channels and then to each of the conversations directly. So it's good to kind of show, you know, the inactive members, like, look, there's a lot of activity going on, like, can you chime in on any of these conversations? So it's been really great for people who don't have a lot of time to dedicate to the community, but still want to stay up to date with everything that's going on. So this has been something we've been doing for just a couple of weeks now, but it's gotten a really good response. And then I also do the community quizzes one is what I use for the engagement prompts that we do each week. So this was a question that we had earlier. So I used ChatGPT to come up with a question for our AI channel. So we asked a question around growth marketing and the tools that the members can use effectively. So this is really fun, and it's a good way to just kind of, you know, get people chatting and yeah, get conversation going. So. I need to get better at naming mine too.
Yeah, I had a follow-on question, Veri. So you recently rebranded the community, right? And so in terms of, I mean, irrespective of whether you used outreach on Threado, like, how did you think about communicating to members about the brand change? Would love to know like learnings from that, just because brand change is huge. So and like for a community, especially, like, you know, what are some of the things that you implemented when you were changing that?
Yeah, so for a little more context for everyone, we recently rebranded from, our community was called Growth Marketers, and it was very much focused on growth marketing and growth marketers specifically, but we rebranded to Efficient Growth to kind of encompass more like product. We have product managers, we have data analysts, like, you know, data scientists. So a bigger group of people all working towards efficient growth within their companies and brands. So we communicated this. I didn't use Threado specifically for any of the rebranding, but we do use MailChimp as well for a separate Efficient Growth weekly newsletter that we host. So we sent out a newsletter with all of the updates to everyone. We also launched a new website dedicated to efficient growth, and this is going to house a lot of new resources for our community as well. So we're creating a community directory where people can kind of filter and look through, you know, other people in the same industry as them, or, you know, if they want to do an in-person meetup, they can filter by location and connect with those people in their area. We're also going to put a jobs board on there. We're going to host a new efficient growth blog. So we have a lot of different initiatives, kind of all working towards this rebrand and just providing more resources for our community. So we posted a big update in our Slack community around the rebrand, kind of what we have going on in the future, and just the reasoning why we did that. So very well received. It's very exciting. We have a lot of new projects and programs that we're launching this year. So very exciting stuff. But yeah, that's kind of, we're still, you know, obviously working through the next projects, but it's been great so far.
Awesome. I do have a question. I think, Bailey, you seem more of a user of the outreach using Slack, right? Not the email version, if I'm not wrong.
Yes. Yeah.
And I'm just curious to understand, number one, like how much of these outreach experiments that you do are resulting in you getting your people back on Slack? Like I think you mentioned a couple of Slack channels. How's the engagement look like? How are you measuring that? And what are some different experiments you usually do using these outreach messages? Like anything that's unusual and unobvious that you want to share with us?
Ooh, I think we're still kind of obviously, testing and just kind of seeing what works and what doesn't. I do use just the Slack version of that because we use MailChimp for our emails and our newsletters, but I would be curious to test out the email feature because we haven't done that yet. So that could be really interesting to see how, we can reach those inactive members via email versus Slack. So that could be something we could test as well. But in terms of like unique, I think it's been a really good way for us to try and keep retention going within our community. I've gotten really good feedback on the recaps, especially. I think that's been like a really successful test in just helping improve our retention rate week over week. So I think that's been, ever since we've been doing that, we have been seeing that go up, even just a small amount week over week. We've been talking with Pramod about how much we're like really leaning into retaining our existing members and really making sure that they're active within the Slack platform itself. So that's been really helpful with that, just kind of keeping activity going. I try and look at channels sometimes that are not as, active and diversify where we're posting questions too, to see if we can reach different people in different channels. So yeah, it's been good so far.
That's awesome. Love that answer. Yeah, we definitely want to hop on a one-on-one with you to learn more about how you use outreach. But yeah, thanks for sharing.
Of course.
Cool. Any other questions? Awesome. Yeah, I think we can jump to the comments. Charlie, but go ahead.
Hey everybody, my name is. Oh, thanks, Bailey. Hey everybody, my name is Charlie Pat. I work at the Commons. The Commons is a learning community for folks looking to break into working in tech or level up for their existing role in tech. And we focus on business roles, so strategy and operations, strategic finance, product management, and revenue-oriented roles. So that is our community. We kind of have two big parts of our community. One is that we run cohort-based programs that are kind of like 6-week boot camps where you level up for a strategy and operations kind of project or strategic finance, et cetera. You do those over the course of 5 to 6 weeks. But then once you're done your program, you join our community. Our community primarily takes place on Slack. And it's just you kind of do your program, your 6-week program, and then you graduate into the community. And then it's full of all of our alumni, people who have since gone on to land new roles, and you can kind of learn from them. It's a little bit of a networking aspect to it as well. And then we also try to add a ton of value to people through the community. So we often do workshops on different topics that could be career oriented or more like job skill focused. And we also host in-person meetups in the cities that we have the biggest presence, and just do our best to connect people and have it be a thriving community and place where people like to network and where networking is a little bit less intimidating. In terms of in terms of my role, I do operations and growth, but where Threado comes in is on the operations side. And operations to me is basically community management as well as running our sprints. Threado has been a huge game changer for me in terms of the way that we run our sprints. That's what we call our 5 to 6 week programs. There's just like so many logistics that are happening, so many little outreaches to everyone to make sure that people are staying on track. And doing this or using Threado and getting on Threado has just been such a game changer in terms of keeping things organized. And yeah, it's been great. I can definitely share my screen and show you kind of like what that would look like because it rocks. So Threado outreach. Perfect. Y'all can see my screen, right? Nice. Cool. So the way that I do this is we have a couple of filters. We use tagging a lot. So if we did our strategy and operations sprint, So that's denoted by SO Sprinter. And then the other filter that I'm going to add is which cohort they're in. So we're currently in the March cohort. So basically at the beginning of everyone's, we try and keep in touch with people throughout the sprint. So at the beginning of week 1, 3, and 5, during someone's sprint, we're going to do an outreach to them. So I can quickly filter down to the 50 people that are currently participating in the program. And then we use templates all the time. And these are our own custom templates that we used to use it from our pre-Threado days. We just kind of loaded them up into Threado. And you can see right here, I've got my sprint week 1 check-in, sprint week 3 check-in and survey, and then sprint week 5 check-in. And then we have a couple others as well. So if I want to use my, say like week 3, if it was the beginning of week 3, I'm popping in here using this template. And it's just very quick. Hit next, and then boom, there it is. That's done. And I can do that for all of my sprints. So this one is actually a generic one. So we run all of our cohorts concurrently. So right now we have, this is strategy and operations, but we also have 3 other cohorts running at the exact same time. So at the beginning phase, when I'm doing the tags, I could have added all of my sprints to this reach out, and then I've got everyone done. And that took me about 45 seconds. This is something that would have taken, honestly, up to like 2 hours of my day each week. Just like reaching out to, in our first phase, reaching out to everyone individually. We had an interim kind of like hacky fix using Coda and then automation through Coda, where we were able to use the Slack integration there to send out mass messages, but it broke all the time. Was really hard to explain to someone who wasn't the person that created the automation, and was just overall not a great time. So that is what we do a lot of at the Commons. The other great thing here is that it gives us a ton of flexibility. I am primarily the one that runs our programs, but if I was ever out on a Monday, one of my coworkers could easily pop in here and on behalf of me send this message and keep things moving. Whereas before, we'd have to change our flow a little bit. So that's great. Something that I'm really looking forward to taking advantage of in the future is the scheduled sends. This is something where we haven't gotten so in the flow with Threado yet, but in the future, at the beginning of a cohort, I'm going to be able to sit down and basically just schedule all of these over the course of the next 5 weeks so that I don't even have to worry about these regular communications throughout the rest of the cohort. So it'll just be like a little bit of prep time at the beginning, and then I'm ready to go for basically the rest of the cohort. So that is the way that we are. That's kind of like our major use case right now, has been really streamlining our operations for our cohorts that we run. One of the ways that we are looking to use it more moving forward that I'm also excited about is that right now I've got this filtered to our March cohort for strategy and operations, but eventually we're going to have our January cohort, all of last year's cohorts, and so on and so forth. So we'll basically have all of our alumni of this program. If we were ever bringing in a guest speaker for the community for a community workshop, who is maybe like the director of strategy and operations at some big company, and we wanted to surface that event to people who that would be relevant for in our community, I can just get rid of which cohort it is and automatically tag all of our strategy and operations sprinters who have been through our program, and we know that that's going to be a relevant event for them. So that's one way that I'm pretty excited to use this moving forward as well.
And you're abusing tagging, I guess. I think one of the things I want to learn is, how do you keep up with, like, there'll be a ton of new members that join, right? How do you keep up with tagging? Like, do you spend like, do you have like a habit spending like 30 minutes per day? What does your process look like? Because I'm very curious and want to implement something, implement for us.
Yeah, so that kind of, you should have had me on a couple of weeks ago to talk about onboarding. That's kind of part of our onboarding flow is, and this is a mix of like using Google Sheets and when people come from our admissions process and are ready to enter our community, we have it set up nicely for us because people apply to join one of our cohorts. So it's very clear when people join our community, which program they're in. Part of the onboarding process is, leading up to this March cohort, I'm taking, an hour to download the CSV of those people. I have a tab in my onboarding Google Sheet called Threado tag mapping, and it's like set up. So basically the way I'm doing that is using the CSV import to tag people with their sprint as well as their cohort. So that keeps things pretty clean for me. Yeah.
Got it. Makes sense.
Hey, Charlie Pat, just curious to know, so specifically for the events, do you just send one outreach informing the relevant members about the upcoming event, or do you also use outreach for sending reminders and then probably gathering post-event feedback also?
Yeah, we haven't dived too deep into kind of using it around those. We use it a little bit more on an ad hoc basis, like, hey, we are running this event. Signups are a little bit low, but we know it's a speaker who is awesome and we want to have a really good turnout for them. Then we'll say, okay, how can we get more signups for this event and get it to the right people? And then we'll say, okay, let's target all those past sprinters. We haven't so much been using it like outside of that kind of ad hoc use case.
Got it.
Hey, hi. So I have a question related. You have organized really well, but the question is, do you think we should have remove or saved templates? Because as you like everything neat and clean, so let's say you have created a custom template which you did not like, so you would like to remove that template and create new one. That is one question. Another question, there will be multiple templates in the future. So would you like to have a search to search whatever template you want rather than going through like multiple pages?
For us, we would update. I believe you can update the templates. Is that true? Can you update the templates?
I think save template we cannot update. We can use it.
Yeah,
and,
no, it'll create a new template. So yeah, there are a couple of requests which we've gotten to delete templates and also update it. So currently, if you save, make changes and save it, it will save as a new template. So I think, yeah, we have to improve that experience.
We can update it. We just made an.
Again, okay, cool.
Not delete it, but
yeah,
make an update and the name pops up, and which is basically the same name, and you could update it.
Cool. Hey, by the way, like amazingly well organized. I think a lot of lessons for us also to use it in that fashion. I had one question. The way you're using templates and not putting too much pressure on our product team, but do you think like some functionality like just slash, if you do a slash command and the templates just appear right there, would make it even more faster, like almost like superhuman kind of an experience, where you can save like these pre-built messages and it's easily accessible in that editor.
Yeah, I mean, Threado has already cut down from, Threado has saved me so much time that I can't ask for anything more at this point. But yeah, that would definitely be like a delightful feature, I would say.
Correct. Cool.
I have a quick question for the Threado team. The way that you use all of those templates has really inspired me. I feel like I need to do that and like organize all of my tags and cohorts. But I'm curious with those templates, if there's a link that needs to be updated. And so is it like duplicating the template? And then like if I needed to update a link or something, could I do that and still use the same template each time? Does that make sense? Like if I just use if I use the template and then need to update the link, does it affect the template at all or anything?
No. So what you can do is have a placeholder, for that link. When you insert a template, just remember to paste the link there. So it won't affect the template in any way. So you can just save that same format and then change the link every time. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, awesome. I loved looking at all of your tags and everything. It was so organized.
Thanks. I think we could it can always be even more organized. I'm excited to I want to draw out the map because I feel like there's a way to do it in a systematic format where you can have everything at your fingertips, where you could be I want people that joined in March 2023. I want people that did whatever. So I get excited about tagging.
Awesome. Just any other questions for Charlie, Bailey, or Gaurav? Okay, cool. Thanks a lot, guys. I think this was probably the best. It keeps getting better every community day, demo day. So this has been amazing to learn all the different ways in which you're engaging with your community, and and whatever small way, how outreach is helping on that front. I know Sharath probably has some notes to implement for our community as well.
Absolutely. I think I'm actually very much impressed by the way Bailey uses the DMs more than the email, because I don't use much of DMs, but I use heavily on the email front. At the same time, I think the tagging thing, if we do auto tagging, some magical work by the team, it'll be super helpful. And appreciate Gaurav for sharing your flow as well. Yeah, I feel it gave me so much inspiration just for myself. But yeah, this has been great. I feel by far it's the best demo day we had.
Great. Thanks a lot, guys. Thanks for taking the time and sharing. And we'll keep you posted on the next one soon.
Thank you so much.
By the way,
Thanks, everyone.
For folks who are there, we just rolled out a resource, and I think Sharath or Supriya is going to mail it out. We rolled out a Notion doc with 100+ ChatGPT prompts for community builders.
Yes.
It's a work in progress. There are 100 prompts there. Please feel free to go through and share feedback. Sharath and rest of the team sort of spent this last few days coming up with these prompts. We also interacted with a lot of community builders to understand how they're using it. I would love some feedback on that. So feel free to explore it. Cool. Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Thanks. Have a good weekend.
Good to see
Bye.
you. Yeah.
You do. Bye. Bye.
Bye.